Good morning and welcome to EV Travels. Yep, we did used to be known as Ioniq Travels, but I've changed this so that basically we can encompass all sorts of electric vehicles moving forward, because the channel's proving very popular. And can I just remind you right at the very start, please like and subscribe to these videos, and that way that will enable us to do more and more content. That will really help me if you can do that. Okay, so this morning, little experiment, driving down Coventry, and basically I'm going to run down with the heating on. Now yesterday I started off at this point and I had 25 miles spare capacity. By the time I got to Coventry I had 50 miles spare capacity, and I'd actually achieved over 5 miles per kilowatt. And the temperature was the same as today. It was around about 3 degrees to 4 degrees Celsius here in the UK. Weather conditions were dry, just like they are today. And basically this is an opportunity to do a like-for-like test. I'll post some images of yesterday's journey and also the result of the end of the mileage throughout this video. The difference today is, though, I'm going to run down with the heating on. Yesterday I ran down with the heating off, and basically I had a little bit of the fan going, just a setting one blowing in my face a little bit, and that helped keep the windows clear. Didn't have to switch it on to demist or anything like that. I am actually going to run with the windscreen demister setting on as well. You've seen in a previous video where I've turned that off, and I'll try and post the link to that video at the end of this one as well. So let's see how we do. So first of all, heating on, 21 degrees Celsius. I like it nice and toasty. Heat settings on, you can hear the fans whirring up now, and off we go. So we're doing the regular commute from home down to Coventry. I just stopped off at the Bannatyne charger. I ran heat to that charger. I've just charged up to 94%. It's a 50 kilowatt CCS rapid charger. The journey yesterday, I say I had 25 miles capacity. The total length of the journey is just over 88 miles. When I got there, I still had 50 miles capacity, meaning I actually could have extracted about 138 miles from 100% battery. I actually think I could have done more, because in fact at 50% battery usage, so i.e. from 94% down to 44%, I actually had managed to extract 84 miles. So thinking, yeah, we've got you know, a good 50% still to go. You would imagine if I could get 84 miles on the first 50%, on the second 50% equally, I could get another 84 miles, meaning my total range at 100% would be would actually be 168 miles. Yeah, so let's see how we do with the heat on. Let's say spare capacity this morning, I'm looking presently at, let's just work this one out, I'm looking at a spare capacity of 26 miles, so it's very similar. At 25 capacity yesterday, 26 capacity. Let's just explain what I mean about capacity. When I'm saying capacity, I mean, that's a bit of extra range that I've got, that I sort of think to myself, yeah, I've got a safety margin, if you like. So yeah, I've got 26 miles spare range compared to yesterday's 25. So let's see how we do with the heating on. I am in eco setting. Yesterday my average speed was 56 mile an hour. That includes a section of the M1 which is a 50 mile an hour restriction for roadworks, and we're going to take exactly the same route. We're going to aim to get an average speed of 56 mile an hour as well. We're going to aim to keep our hands on the steering wheel. For those of you who don't know, that little alarm that you just heard then is actually just reminding me to keep my hands on the steering wheel. They were on the steering wheel, interestingly, but the car just thinks because I'm allowing it to do the lane keeping assist as well as it does do it, it was thinking I'd maybe begun to nod off, which I certainly haven't. Okay, so today's going to be a little bit of a long video. I hope you guys don't get too bored watching it. These videos, basically I'm looking to you guys also to supply me with some ideas. What do you want to see? What do you want tested? As I say, and I've said in previous videos, I'm lining up a Hyundai Kona for a test. I've also got in touch with a member of one of the Facebook groups that I'm in, and again I'll say this, sorry for repeating myself, but the Facebook groups for EV owners are amazing, and you get a lot of solidarity in there. And I was in touch with a guy last night who has got, I think it's the first or the second generation Nissan Leaf. It's not the new shape one, and we're looking at charging one of the brand new Alpha chargers very soon, and seeing whether we can actually charge the Nissan Leaf alongside the Hyundai Ioniq. So yeah, running CHAdeMO and CCS at the same time. Let's see whether the Alpha can do this or not. It would make it rather unique in the marketplace if indeed it can actually do it. So hoping to film that out. So James, if you're watching, I look forward to hopefully doing that with you in the coming weeks, and thanks again for getting in touch. So yeah, the average speed, as I say, yesterday was 56 mile an hour. We're currently averaging 50 as we join the M1 there, and yeah, I am maintaining this distance behind the lorry because, you know what, I'm not actually concerned really too much about hypermiling, because the Ioniq is such an aerodynamic shape, it really doesn't fuss me at all. What I do like to do is actually have a nice relaxing drive, and rather than blasting along in the outside lane doing 70 or indeed you see a lot of people doing 80, 90 miles an hour, that's just not for me. I like to get there to my destination in one piece. I like to chill out and relax and just enjoy the journey really, and make sure I get there, as I say, one time. So yeah. One of the things I'm interested in as well, guys, is whether you are interested in me turning this into a bit of a blog really about actually the EV world and different cars that are coming, and actually making it a little bit of a news type program whilst I'm driving though, so there'll still be footage like this, and I thought I'd reflect like on the major sort of EV story that is knocking about for the previous day or during that week, just to see how popular that is as well, just in the early days as we find our way with this channel. One of the things that's quite clear from the feedback that I've had from you guys so far is that you do like the road trips, so we'll be filming more of those this year, and indeed you do like the the bit more of a travel log approach rather than it just being this is how this works and this is how that works. Did get a message yesterday saying about the another idea, which was about showing how different chargers work. As I say, hopefully that test with the Alpha charger with James that will come off in the coming weeks, and that would be very good to do. And following that, I think as well we'll be doing videos about how the Instavolt charger works and also the Polar charger works. Now I know a lot of the guys you that subscribe so far obviously know how these things work as well, but there's going to be so many thousands of new people coming along who just will not know how these things work. And I know when I first started, I got this card in the post from Polar, and I'm like, well, what the heck do I do with this? And okay, I've used RFID cards for other things like security doors and stuff like that, but yeah, it was still a bit of a mystery for me, and yeah, I just want to try and demystify it, because the one thing that I'm really noticing about discussions about EVs is the goal of so many people to put so many objections out there about EVs. I know we talk about the petrol industry, the oil industry turning around and conspiring, and indeed motor manufacturers themselves conspiring to prevent the uptake of EVs to, in my mind, maintain the almighty subscription model, which is you want to go somewhere, you've got to put something in it to burn to produce the energy. It's the ultimate subscription model. It's more addictive than tobacco, let's be honest. I'm beginning to believe, probably along with a lot of other people, and certainly a lot of scientists as well, that actually emissions from vehicles is probably more harmful for us as humans, particularly with things like dementias, than actually anything like smoking ever was. But I don't think we'll see many, or will we see any test cases against the oil companies for the damage they've done to our health. Let's watch this space. But yeah, there's a lot of objections that come out when people talk about EVs, and they're going to miss the noise and the sounds and the roar of a V8, etc. And I get that. I really do get that. But I have to say, do you know what? Once you've tried an EV, and I would definitely urge you to try an EV, you won't go back. It really is driving the future. You've got completely smooth torque and acceleration like you're seeing here. There's no effort. You're not shifting down the gear. You're not struggling going up hills. Sure, the weight of the car does make the car slow down as it goes uphill, but you know what? It's just the same as any other car. If you're pushing 2 ton up a hill, that's going to happen. It's laws of physics. You haven't got the smell of filling up your petrol station. You've got no fumes coming out of the back. You've got a really quiet car. You've got a really smooth, and you've actually got a really fast car as well. The Ioniq will do 0 to 60 in around about 7.8 seconds. And it feels substantially quicker You get used to it very quickly, I must say, but it feels substantially quicker when you first get into an EV. And also the fact that you go that fast with no noise, hardly. Yeah, that's really incredible. It really is. It's wonderful. Anyway, so yeah, I'm very interested to see about Tesla. Don't know if any of you guys have seen the news overnight, but there's been some fantastic results for Tesla. They've actually sold more cars in the last year than what they've done in previous 10 years of production, which is amazing. I think they're over 250,000 cars sold. The vast majority of those are the Model 3. I have to admit, I'm not a huge fan of the Model 3 from the point of view of build quality, from what I've seen of it, and I've been and actually seen the car down in London, and yeah, it got scratched very easily. I'm sure it had a few hundred people in and out of the back seat, which probably is the equivalent of a lifetime wear of the sills in the back seat, where people are getting in and out. But they were completely and utterly scuffed beyond belief, really. Very, very soft plastic. As you enter the door, you go over the door threshold basically for the rear seat. Very, very scuffed, very soft. Nice looking car. Love the control system. Very, very simple. Again, taking you to the next step. I'm sure the acceleration as well would be amazing in it, because that's like minimum of I mean, they publish 4.7 seconds to 60, but it's actually near a 4.4, and indeed with various upgrades that it's had, it's probably even quicker. And if you get a performance one, you're looking at 0 to 60 in around about 3.2 seconds, which is beyond belief. Yeah. But for me, you know, yeah, it's not really for me. Let's put it that way. Model X, Model S, yeah, really like that. Although I do think they need to improve the build quality there. And heck, Tesla, what are you doing with that wooden trim inside? I'm sure. Well, I don't know if I'm sure or not, but maybe the American market's like the base wooden trim in there, but man, I'd rather have black piano plastic in it, as you've got in the Model 3. The wood trim now that comes as standard on the Model S and the Model X, man, there's no sheen to it. It's not glossy. It is actually sort of quite a dull finish to it, which, okay, yeah, it makes it look a bit more like real wood, I guess, but it'll cut down reflections, I guess. But no, it just looks wrong, to be honest. It looks a bit like an old man's library, which, if you like that sort of thing, alright, fine. But as I say, not really for me. But anyway, going off point yet again. Yeah, Tesla have done an amazing job over the last 10 years. Excuse me. And yeah, there's no denying that. And without Tesla, maybe we wouldn't have the likes of the Ioniq, and indeed the Nissan Leaf, and other developing EVs that are coming out in the marketplace quite soon. I think they've really pushed the agenda, which is amazing. I don't know if you can see this. Yeah, I'm sure you will be able to see this. The sign that I'm just going under there actually says air quality monitoring. We've had this for about the last, I'd say, 4 months in Yorkshire, South Yorkshire, on the M1, and indeed Nottinghamshire. This little bit of the M1, the corridor here, just take a slurp of water, excuse me. seems to be undergoing air quality monitoring, and indeed they're actually using that air quality monitoring as a reason for reducing the speed limit at times. So they are actually throwing a 60-mile-an-hour limit out on the basis of air quality now in this area. I don't know whether this is happening in any other parts of the UK. If it is, perhaps you could leave a comment and just let me know. I'd be very interested to know, because I've only seen it on my travels in Yorkshire. But yeah, it's an interesting one. One of the things that I read the other day, which I thought was quite interesting, was about Austria. They have, I understand, a speed limit there generally of 130 kilometres an hour, which is just over, it's just over 70 miles per hour. I'm sure somebody will correct me in the comments if that's wrong. And that 130 kilometres an hour at times of high pollution actually is reduced for cars down to 100 kilometres an hour on their motorways. Now this is with the exception for electric vehicles, which fantastic news. So actually you will have your fossil burning internal combustion engine cars doing at most 100 kilometres an hour, and you're able to do 130 still in your EV, which, you know what, I think that's great. I think that's for some people who, unlike me, like to blast along at 70 mile an hour, that's going to be quite an incentive, rather than face getting a ticket in an internal combustion engine car for actually doing over 100 kilometres an hour. Now, how they monitor that, whether they enforce it with speed cameras like we have on our so-called smart motorways or not, I don't know, but certainly sounds a very interesting proposition. I'm sure that would help with the uptake of electric vehicles here as well. Another news story that I spotted yesterday on Facebook is that Charge Place Scotland in Dumfries and Galloway, which is a very beautiful part of Scotland. If any of you haven't been, I thoroughly recommend it. It's getting a little bit more expensive there. All the chargers run by Charge Place Scotland actually were free, so you could actually travel around Scotland for free using their largely rapid chargers, so 50 kilowatt chargers, and not pay a penny, which was fantastic. And indeed that was an ambition of mine, to actually do a road trip around Scotland for free and actually see just how easy it was to do it using the Charge Place Scotland chargers. For those of you who don't know, you would access these via your Polar card, so it's part of the Charge Master network, and your Polar card basically would give you access to these chargers, which were funded by the Scottish Government. Now, I believe it's from the 27th of January. Actually, these chargers in Dumfries and Galloway only at this time are now going to be paid. You've got to pay 25 pence per kilowatt. Okay, currently as we stand here on the 3rd of January, the chargers cost 30 pence per kilowatt if you go to an electric highway one here in England or Scotland, which is Ecotricity, also by another name. And indeed the Instavolt chargers, when they begin charging, they're going to be 35 pence per kilowatt. Now, one of the things that I thought was quite interesting was all the protests and angry voices coming out of EV drivers from Scotland that basically it's 25p, it's overpriced, particularly as the UK government has announced a energy price cap on the energy providers of 17 pence per kilowatt. Now, that's okay to sort of think that, but actually people who run the chargers are redistributors. They are not energy providers, they are redistributors of energy. So therefore they are not going to be classed as energy providers, so they're not subject to that cap, the energy price cap as it's been called. Yeah, sure, they'll pay a maximum of 17 pence. They'll probably pay a lot less than that, in fact, but they're entitled to put a recharge value on that of, well, anything they want. It's not actually capped, so it's not regulated at this time. I do think that at some point that will actually come in, but at the moment, yeah, the money that the government has given councils to provide the electricity is probably running out, and indeed the same will go through for Instavolt and indeed possibly Pod Point, which will be really sad unless the actual supermarkets themselves, like Tesco, are going to do with the 7 kilowatt posts that Pod Points are about to put in, actually say no, it's okay, we'll pay for that. So again, we need to watch that space, because with Pod Points at the moment, they're actually funded by the local authorities. The supermarkets give the bit of land in the car park. They don't pay for the electricity, the local authorities do. So it is not, as much of a goodwill gesture as you may imagine from the supermarkets to actually get these chargers up and running. And you might think, well, it's a great incentive from the supermarket, but actually they're supplying the land. They're not doing anything else. The local authority pays the electricity. So as other local authorities' money runs out for chargers, basically we're going to be a little bit not screwed, but we're going to not be enjoying the benefits of free charging as much as we would like now. And again, we're going into a subscription model. The planet will be a lot greener, a lot healthier place for future generations, and that is really important. But the free motoring that some of us can achieve largely now as a result of free chargers such as Pod Points and Instavolts and the Charge Place Scotland chargers, those benefits are going to disappear, sadly. But hey, that's a great reason to be an early adopter and get your electric vehicle now, because you can take advantage of it, make hay while the sun shines, as they say. So, okay, let's have an update on this economy drive that we're having down here. So far, we've done about 23 miles while we've been talking, and yeah, indeed the average speed now is 56 miles an hour, and with the heat on, I am presently recording 5 miles per kilowatt hour, which is great. So I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to let you enjoy a bit more of some of the motorway traffic as I basically just concentrate on trying to drive as economically as possible now for the remainder of the journey. And yeah, I'll talk to you a bit later. Welcome back. I thought I'd give you a little update. On 40 miles now, and currently in the 50-mile-an-hour roadworks on the M1 Nottingham, which have been going for many years. And basically I'm achieving 5.3 miles per kilowatt hour at this moment. This is still with the heat on, set at 21 degrees Celsius. Outside temperature, again like yesterday, it's about 4 degrees outside. Yesterday was between 3 and 5, so average of 4, so it's pretty consistent. The safety net that I had, the margin, remember it was 26 miles. Currently I've got 83 miles range and I've got 45 to go. So yeah, we're looking now that 26 mile range is actually now spare capacity is actually now what, 38. So definitely you can drive quite economically. Average speed still 56 miles an hour. I am in the 50-mile-an-hour zone, as I say. Hence it feels like the world's going by quite slowly. Yeah, one thing that's quite interesting that just happened.
2 miles, leave the motorway to the left onto A42
going past
towards
me
the
now.
southwest.
As you can see there, is that there's been 4 black unmarked cars. Volkswagen Golf was the lead car, and 3 other cars, which well, happened so quickly. They actually, I think one of them was an Audi, possibly 2 or even 3 of them was an Audi. But they absolutely roared past me on the motorway. I'll see if I can actually put a clip of this into the video from my dash cam, because it was just bonkers. They've got to be doing 120, 140 down the motorway, and this is a Thursday morning. It's about 9 o'clock. You know, it's not a quiet time of day for these cars to be bombing down the motorway like they are. I do hope that they get to their destination safely and they're able to deal with whatever they're dealing with safely.
Leave the motorway at the next exit onto A42 towards the south.
Let's turn her off a moment, sorry about that. It was phenomenal, the difference in speed between myself tootling along nicely at 60 and these cars driving at, like I say, got to be at least 120, probably 130, 140. It's bonkers. Yeah, quite scary actually. If somebody had pulled out on them, it could have been quite messy. It was, yeah. I'll try and put a clip in anyway. One thing I can add actually, the experience about journey last night, and again if I can try and recover a clip from my dash cam on this, I will. But I had should we say, a young gentleman walk out in front of me on a crossing where the crossing was green in my favour, and he actually stepped out, started to walk across, which if he'd just carried on walking would have been fine, but he was looking at his mobile phone, pitch black at night time, and he decided to turn around and walk back. And I have to say the car's safety systems picked him up, as well as my own judgment, but I applied the brakes, and I know there's a few people out there a bit critical of the Hyundai Ioniq and its braking system. Sometimes seems a little bit soft, but I have to say the brakes and the safety systems within the car all cut in, work together. I could tell I was stamping on the brakes, and definitely I slowed down extremely rapidly, so rapidly that my high grip gloves that I use for driving when I'm running without the heating on, basically flew off the passenger seat into the far end of the footwell, never mind just into the footwell, but actually right underneath the glove box. Such was the deceleration from around about 40 mile an hour to zero. So yeah, I'll see if I can retrieve footage of that as well. But gosh, folks, get your kids to cross the road without looking at a mobile phone, please. This young man was probably 17, 18, and you know, it makes you wonder whether if somebody else or a different car had been going along, you know, whether he'd actually see his next birthday. It was a very interesting moment. I will add, this show is not sponsored by B&Q, even though it seems to be at this precise moment. Let's just get past this lorry. Recap of how the journey's going in a little while. Okay, so we're nearing the end of our journey now, and basically I'm just in the M42 M6 junction 8, and yeah, it's been a nice peaceful journey down. Been very consistent with yesterday. There's hardly any wind. It's important to mention as well. I've got 14 miles to my destination. The reason I started filming at this point is just to take you through the fact that I'm now about to have consumed 50% battery from having charged to 94%. So we're just about to click to 44% battery, and as we do so, that will give me an indication of how much how many miles you can get out of this car, a Hyundai Ioniq Electric 28 kilowatt car, for 50% of its battery use at what is still 4 degrees Celsius, whilst running with the heating on. The climate is on at automatic on 21 degrees heat. That noise is the speed camera alert, by the way. I'll be doing a video of how to set the speed camera alert on the Ioniq as well soon, because that seems to be a mysterious science that has eluded a lot of people, indeed me too, up until today. So we're just about to click over, just waiting for my energy information to show me 44%. It's like waiting for a kettle to boil. Just wait and wait and wait. There we go. Okay, so we have basically 13 miles to go. That means we've gone 75 miles on 50% battery at 4 degrees Celsius. So at 4 degrees Celsius, running with the heat on, and remember, EV drivers notoriously are a little bit panicky about running with the heat on because of the extra energy it consumes. Basically, I've got 75 miles out of 50% battery by driving steadily, and I'm extremely comfortable. My usual winter attire of thick padded jacket done up to the neck, scarf, gloves, don't need them. In in fact, actually, I'm a bit warm in my jacket, but obviously I can't take that off while I'm driving. But I could sit here quite comfortably, just in my my normal shirt, really. So, yeah, what an amazing car. So we're 75 miles, just to repeat this, from 50% of the battery. So we're looking at a range with the heating on in temperatures of 4 degrees Celsius with hardly any wind at all. We're looking at a range of 150 miles from 100%. Now the GOM this morning showed me 100%, 121 miles. My journey's 120, so I had literally no slack in that journey. But this is amazing. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Range anxiety. No, if you get an Ioniq, you're not going to suffer with it. I mean, I think I'm quite unusual. My commute's been 120 miles every day. This is just awesome. It really is. Okay, so I'll come back with a summary of what we achieve at the end. Okay, final part of the journey. So on just little suburban roads now, and yeah, how have we done? Okay, so remember the safety margin that I had from the charger at Rotherham to 94% was actually 26 miles. I've got half a mile to go, and I'm going to get there with 40 miles spare. It might click over to 39, but at the moment it's looking like 40. The average speed has been 56 miles an hour, just same as yesterday. Weather conditions, apart from being a bit duller today, well, that won't make any difference other than the headlights have been used maybe a little bit more. Basically they've been identical, there's just no wind. It's great, so very consistent. Miles per kilowatt hour, 5.1. So at it's 3 degrees Celsius now as I arrive, and yeah, basically that's just amazing. So absolutely brilliant car, what can I say? And thanks very much for being on this journey with me, and see you again soon.